You raised them. You gave them everything. And now? One careless comment can leave a wound that words alone can't heal. Growing older comes with challenges, but perhaps none more painful than feeling dismissed or hurt by your own children. Most parents don't speak up. They stay silent. They smile through the sting. But today, we're saying the quiet part out loud. In this video, we'll explore 5 subtle but deeply painful phrases adult children often say, without realizing the emotional damage they cause. If you've ever felt invisible, unappreciated, or quietly heartbroken, this one's for you. And if you're an adult child watching, this might just change how you speak to the people who love you most. Let's begin. Phrase number 1. You already told me that. Why it hurts more than you think. It's a common phrase, harmless, even helpful in some contexts. But when an aging parent hears "you already told me that," the message hits differently. To them, it can feel like, "You're not sharp anymore. You're annoying. You're wasting my time." And that's the real sting, not the words themselves, but what they imply. Let's pause and imagine something. You spent decades raising your child. You read the same bedtime stories night after night. You answered the same toddler questions over and over. Why is the sky blue? Why do dogs bark? And you never snapped. You smiled, because their curiosity mattered. Fast forward decades later, and now it's you, the parent, sharing the same story twice, trying to recall if you've said it before, searching for a connection in a moment of memory fog. And suddenly, your child, the one you comforted through breakups and sleepless nights, says, "Yeah, you already told me that." Flat. Rushed. No warmth, no patience. Can you feel how deep that cuts? This isn't just about memory loss. It's about feeling invisible, unimportant, like your voice no longer deserves the space it once had. But here's the truth. Repeating stories is rarely just forgetfulness. It's often a longing, a desire to revisit the moments that made life meaningful. It's a form of legacy sharing. It's an attempt to say, "Please remember who I am, who I was, what I lived through." So if you're an adult child watching this, here's something to consider. Instead of saying, "You already told me that," try, "That was such a good story. I remember it." Or even better, "I love hearing you talk about that." Those small shifts can make your parent feel seen, not dismissed. And if you're the parent, please know, your memories are precious. Your stories are needed, even if you have to tell them twice, because one day those same children who rushed you may wish they could hear any of your stories. Just one more time. Phrase number 2. You're just being too sensitive. How this phrase silences more than it soothes. On the surface, this might sound like an attempt to calm someone down. But for aging parents, you're just being too sensitive doesn't soothe. It silences. Let's unpack that. As we age, life becomes more layered. You feel time differently. You carry more memories and more aches, both physical and emotional. You may notice that your voice isn't as often invited into the conversation. So when you finally express something, a fear, a hurt, a boundary, and you're told you're overreacting, that doesn't just sting. It tells you that your feelings are invalid, that your emotional experience no longer fits in the world your children live in. Take, for example, Elena, a retired school teacher. She recently told her daughter she felt hurt that no one asked if she'd like to join the family trip, even just for a day. Her daughter replied, "Oh, Mom, don't be so sensitive. We didn't think you'd want to come." Elena didn't need to go on the trip. She needed to feel included. That's the difference between isolation and dignity. When adult children brush off your feelings with, "You're being too sensitive," they may not realize it, but they're building walls, not bridges. So, what's a better approach? For adult children, try saying, "I didn't realize that hurt you. Can you tell me more?" That one sentence opens the door to understanding. and often healing. And for the parents hearing this, you're not too sensitive, you're attuned. You've lived long enough to feel deeply, and that's a strength, not a flaw. It's okay to speak up. It's okay to say, "That hurt me." Not to guilt, but to teach. To remind your children how to love you well in this stage of life, because you spent your life helping them navigate emotions. Now they're learning how to hold yours. Before we move on, if this video is resonating with you, please consider subscribing. We create thoughtful, honest content that gives voice to what many seniors feel but few talk about. Your story matters. And you're not alone here. Phrase number 3. I don't have time for this right now. At first, it sounds innocent, even logical. After all, life today moves fast. Work deadlines, school pickups, never-ending to-do lists. But when this phrase is repeated, or used in moments when a parent simply needs to talk, it stings. Imagine being 75 years old, finally getting the courage to open up about your fears, your memories, or even just a rough night's sleep. Only to hear, "I don't have time for this right now." It doesn't just shut down the conversation, it says, "You're not a priority." This sentence can quietly break an aging parent's heart. It feeds a dangerous idea that their stories, their needs, even their presence is an interruption in someone else's life. But here's the truth. Most parents don't need hours of their children's time. They just need presence. One undistracted minute, a full breath, even just hearing, "I really want to hear this. Can I call you back in 10? Heikiku can make all the difference. It's not about having time. It's about making space. Because to an aging parent, time spent together isn't a task. It's a lifeline. Phrase number 4. You wouldn't understand. It's often said quickly, almost casually. Maybe the adult child is talking about a work problem, a relationship issue, or just a bad day. The parent listens, maybe asks a gentle question, only to be brushed off with, "You wouldn't understand." But here's what that phrase really says. You're out of touch. You're irrelevant. It slams the door shut on connection. It tells the parent, "You're too old to get it. Your experience doesn't matter anymore." Let's pause here. Many seniors do understand. They've lived through wars, recessions, heartbreak, social shifts, and massive technological change. They've navigated relationships, raised families, lost loved ones. They've faced things today's generation can't even imagine. So when they hear "you wouldn't understand," it doesn't just feel wrong. It feels erasing. A better way? Even if the worlds are different, the feelings are often the same. Stress, loneliness, fear of failure, wanting to be seen. Instead of dismissing parents, what if adult children said, "It's hard to explain, but I'd love to share it with you"? That small change invites connection and reminds both sides that understanding isn't about age. It's about listening. Because sometimes a parent's wisdom isn't outdated, it's exactly what's needed. Phrase number 5. You're lucky we even visit Paul. At first glance, it might sound like a joke, a sarcastic remark tossed out during a tense moment. But this phrase cuts deeper than most. You're lucky we even visit. Be grateful we called at all. These words take something that should be an act of love, staying in touch, and turn it into a favor that the parent is expected to beg for. And that hurts deeply. Why? Because for most aging parents, a visit or a phone call isn't just about catching up. It's their lifeline, their connection to the world, a reminder that they still matter. This phrase flips the script, from love to obligation, from bond to burden. It implies we're doing you a chore. Don't expect too much. But parents aren't asking for luxuries. They're asking to be remembered, to feel they still have a place in their children's lives. A healthier approach? Instead of using guilt or distance, imagine if the conversation sounded like this. I know life gets busy, but I miss you. I want to hear your voice. Or, we don't talk as often as we should. Let's change that. Because no parent should ever feel like they have to earn a child's attention. Love shouldn't come with a receipt. Bonus phrase 6, you're overreacting again. It's dismissive. It says, your feelings are too big, too inconvenient, too much. But aging brings vulnerability. Little things often carry deeper weight. Brushing those emotions aside with, you're overreacting, doesn't solve anything. It just isolates the parent further. What helps instead? Try. I can see this upset you. Let's talk about it. That builds connection, not distance. Bonus phrase 7. We've got our own lives to worry about. Of course, adult children have busy lives, careers, kids, obligations, but this phrase sounds like, you're not part of that life anymore. It unintentionally reinforces the fear that many seniors carry. Being left behind. Being a burden. Respect doesn't require hours. Sometimes a few minutes of true presence says, you still matter to me. Bonus phrase 8. Silence. Sometimes the most painful words are the ones never spoken. No calls, no texts, no birthdays remembered, no "how are you" after surgery or loss. Silence can scream. It can say, I've forgotten you. But the door to connection isn't locked. Even a simple message, I've been thinking of you, can break that silence and begin healing the ache. Aging doesn't erase the need to feel valued, heard, and respected. Yet, too often, the words that cut deepest aren't shouted. They're casually said, or never said at all. If you felt the sting of these phrases, know this. You are not too sensitive. You are not forgotten. And you are absolutely worthy of love and dignity. If you're an adult child watching this, ask yourself, have I truly listened lately? Because one kind word can repair years of silence. And if you're a senior, never be afraid to speak your truth. Stand tall in your story. Set gentle boundaries. Let your voice be heard. The world may grow louder, but your presence, your wisdom, and your heart, they still matter more than you know. Share your story in the comments or just say, I felt this. You're not alone, and this channel is a space where your voice matters. So don't forget to subscribe.